Hey guys, we're back with another episode of the On Season. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday evening. As always, we're live with you guys on YouTube and on X. We got a big episode for you tonight. We're going to get into the latest Dolphin news. Obviously, Calais Campbell departure, plus some ridiculous comments by Mike McDaniel in the owners' meeting that make no sense. Plus, with a very special guest, we'll be doing a live 7-round mock draft with the simulator. Jason and I are happy to welcome. You've seen him all over YouTube, on Twitter. One of the top Dolphins content creators who does great work, Dudley Durong. Thanks for joining us, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
anytime, brother.
I know this is our first time, Jason. I know you're familiar a lot with Doug and all his work. Yeah. All right, so let's get into it. Let's start with the Calais Campbell stuff. I guess we'll start there. I know we all had this wondering, what are they doing at D tackle? Like, they must have this other plan, and the plan was Calais Campbell. Not only so he did sign, but not with us, with the Arizona Cardinals. I believe the number was 5.5, could be up to 7.5 million. I just read, I don't know if it was Omar Kelly or somebody said we were actually third in line as far as money. I don't know what else we were in line, but first of all, beyond the void it leaves on the field, do you think this is more of a sign of like how he sees the state of the franchise more than anything, or you think it's purely he wanted to go back to Arizona where he started his career, and this is, or was it just the money? We'll start with you, Doug. Your thoughts on it.
I think it was both. I think if the Ravens gave him more, like offered him more money, he probably would have went to Baltimore because that's his best chance to win a Super Bowl. And it just so happened Arizona gave him more money, and it was like, all right, well, I'll go back home, end my career there. Obviously, there's no Super Bowl aspirations for the Cardinals. Not saying they're not going to be good or not, but they're nowhere near as close as the Baltimore Ravens are. So if he really was chasing that ring, he would have went back to Baltimore. So I feel like it was a combination of money and home.
Jason.
Yeah, Doug said that pretty much nail on the head. The Cardinals make sense. Baltimore would have made sense. The Dolphins were in the mix, but they didn't put top dollar. Who knows if he would have chosen the Dolphins if they put top dollar, which they tend to not do. So for better or for worse, he is going back home, as they say, to the Cardinals, the original team he played for as a rookie.
Yeah, we'll talk about the void here now that we have on the field, but like also the locker room. Like, who comes to your mind? Is it Tua, the leader in the locker room? I know Tua's gotten better at that, but he's not a guy who's like a leader of men you follow. He's kind of a cringy leader. You know what I mean? Like the way he. No, you get what I mean, right? It's not like all inspiring when I listen to him talk. Like you get goosebumps when you hear Campbell and just looking at him. Is it, I don't know, Ramsey's not that type of guy? Is it Jordan Brooks? Is it Zach Sealer? We'll start with you, Jason, then Doug. What comes to your mind because there's nobody they're going to sign now or draft. That's obviously a rookie's going to come in and be the leader, I don't think. Jason, who comes to mind for you to fill that void?
Well, Zach Sealer to me is the top dog, is the veteran, the elder statesman, and probably the guy who could, get to the center of a locker room, rise up and give a speech, so to speak. Tua might not be necessarily that type of a leader, but it doesn't not make him a leader. There's different types of leadership. Then, of course, you got the freakazoids of Dan Campbell, who just, those are rare. I don't know if they have that type of a guy. Obviously Campbell was a coach, an interim coach, former player, but you look for who is going to step up as a leader, and, you look at guys like a Jonnu Smith, you look at a guy, maybe, Alec Ingold as a captain on, his resume. So, who is going to step up and be that leader? Jalen Phillips to me is that type of player. If he's on the field for a full season, he's a leader type of a player. So it'll be really interesting to see. I would love someone on the offensive line to step up into that role. Is it Aaron Brewer? We don't know if Teron Armstead is officially back or not. So there's a lot of questions on who's going to get those 6 or 7 captain spots. To tell you the truth, it's anybody's job outside of Zach Sealer. It's kind of a toss-up at this moment for me. I mean, Ramsey's going to get one too, but is he the type of pure leader?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It has to be, when it comes to the defensive line, it has to be Sealer. And I think even at the end of the season, Sealer did talk about taking that role and stepping up in that role. Tua, it depends. Obviously, we don't see a lot of Tua. But from the things that we did see from Tua, especially during Hard Knocks, we did see some type of leadership role, especially that Dallas Cowboy game. You know, that was a big game. That was a game to clinch a playoff spot. And in the locker room at halftime, he pulls Teron Armstead aside, kind of talks to him. And then that final drive to get into field goal range really took control of that play, told Mike McDaniel, don't even talk to Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's to his right, but he's talking to Braxton Berrios, and he like really took control of that offense. So, but you need somebody on both sides of the ball, and you also need a veteran that people respect. So, it has to be like a Ramsey. It has to be Sealer. Like Sealer needs to be the guy that steps up with Calais not there, unless they do bring in somebody else that could do the same things. But we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know who will be out there. Maybe a Brandon Scherf on the O line, something like that. But I think the difference between, like, when I say Tua, like Tua has made dramatic improvements in his leadership since day one, no doubt. But like Calais Campbell can stand in front of the whole room. I think Tua can just do that with the receivers and Mike McDaniel. He's not going to get Zach Sealer and motivate Zach Sealer, I don't think. You know what I mean? Like, and Campbell could do it to Jalen Waddle and Zach Sealer. Like, I think that's the difference. And I just don't. Maybe you can anoint one. It just naturally happens with the loss of Campbell. Things change dynamically in the room, and somebody naturally just floats to the top. But who knows? But now what do we do at defensive tackle? Now are we? We'll get into the McDaniel stuff in the meeting, but he kind of hinted that they believe they have options at that position that they like, whatever the heck that means. Do you guys think? I hate doing this in the draft. I hate when we're pigeonholed at a position, just like we were with Austin Jackson. It's where you make mistakes, right? It's where every GM gets fired except Miami. So do you believe they are in a must, if they do nothing else, do you believe they're in a must pick 13? We'll start with you, Doug. At 13 has to be a defensive tackle.
They kind of put themselves in that situation because, say you don't. So you're like, oh, we'll get Za'Darius Smith, we'll get Matt Judon, we'll get, whoever you want to name that's still out there to, help us on the D line. If not at 13, you get a D lineman in the second round, and then they're not there. That's where, they kind of screwed themselves. They're going into the draft with big holes, and you don't want to go into the draft with big holes. You kind of want to be in a situation where whatever falls to you take. Like when we took Laramie Tunsil, we didn't need a tackle at that time, but we took him and we put him at guard, and then he ended up being, a really great tackle who is even getting draft picks for the Houston Texans. But you're looking at this team now, and we need a safety, even though some people think, we have starting safeties. We need a corner opposite of Jalen Ramsey. We need defensive tackle, and we don't have a left guard. And if Liam Eichenberg starts at left guard, then I'm going to burn my house down. So it's a situation where they kind of put themselves, okay, we need to take one of these 3 or 4 options. Instead of Genty falling to 13, all of a sudden, that would be a glorious pick because he's a, generational talent. You can't take Genty. So, and at that point, you look at trade options, and, they put themselves in a mess. Also, cap-wise, they put themselves in a mess. So it's just a hot mess. It's just a complete hot mess.
Yeah, I'll say this before you jump in, Jason, that like I agree with you. I've always said this. It's what it's what these great GMs and front offices do. You take the best players available, you get as many of them in the building, you figure it out later. That's what we don't do. Like, the bottom line is we don't have enough depth. We don't have enough great players on this roster besides 6 or 7, and then it just drops off. There's no depth. There's no talent. That's where we fall into, and I hope we don't fall in that trap. Jason, your thoughts? Are they pigeonholed at 13 here?
Well, they have a lot of needs. Doug is right. There's 3 or 4 positions that could make sense if that player is the right player there. A lot of people will say best player available. I agree, but I like to say best player available of need. And the Dolphins happen to have so much need that with 10 picks, there might be a couple of those situations that are just, oh my God, this is the best player available, and it just happens to be a cornerback. If Will Johnson falls and he's at 13 and he's the best player available, it's a need. So does that happen all the time? Absolutely not, obviously. But if then again, this cornerback is gone, is now 13 the right time to pick a cornerback when they might be able to have a great one? Best player available at 48. You got to play that dance, that choose your own adventure. And Doug mentioned the magic word trade. And I do think that if there is a call that comes in and there's a good package and they move to the early 20s, they could probably still get a best player available of immediate need. If that's something that we could, pray for. And there's a solid shot for that, I think, with 10 picks and a lot of holes on this team.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's 10 picks. But remember, after 48, we don't pick till 98. So how many guys can you really say you might get 2 starters? What they have done is set themselves up to have a home run draft where they never had before. Like last year's draft, Chop was good, not good enough. You're going to have like a Philadelphia Eagles draft or a Detroit Lions draft where you have 3-4 starters making an impact. And I just don't have confidence in this front office to do that. I don't know about you guys. But also, you got to look at the whole I know, Doug, you know about they added a comp pick now, like with the Campbell going to Arizona. They're eligible for that 4th rounder with Javon Holland. So they won't sign anybody until the end of April after the draft, because then it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. So I do think they have some stuff lined up, whether that's at corner, whether it's at D tackle, whatever. But I think you'll see whatever position they don't address, they'll address it after that. But still, to me, they went into the offseason with 7 or 8, 9 needs, and they still have the same ones, just some are less potent, right? That's the best way I can put it. I don't know if you guys would agree with that. There's nothing off the table for me from the start of this offseason, not even James Daniels. Nothing happened to where I feel comfortable that we're better than last year, maybe besides Daniels, right?
Yeah, no, this team, if anything, as we sit right now, isn't. But that's because we have the major holes we do. But when you look at who we lost versus who we gained, it didn't really move the needle. You could say it's kind of the same, but I don't think it really moved the needle. I think, we kind of lost talent losing Javon Holland. You could take any of the safeties we added. I think Javon Holland was better. There was some other guys. I did this whole thing where I was looking at them, and it kind of evened out. Zach Wilson's better, in my opinion, than Skyler.
Yeah. I think the Titans receiver they got is better than
Odell. Yeah. Like there was a lot. Oh, I found it. So you got James Daniels better than Robert Jones. Terrell Dotson is an equal. He came back. Nick Westbrook is obviously better than OBJ. Zach Wilson is, in my opinion, better than any of the backups we had. Melifanu is not better than Javon Holland. Larry Borum is not better than Kendall Lamb. Ashton Davis is better than Jordan Poyer. Elijah Campbell equal. KJ Britt, I think, isn't better than Walker, but we'll see. I could be wrong about that one. Alexander Madison, I don't think is better than Raheem Mostert. Nope. Then you have Ryan Stonehouse better than Jake Bailey, and then Pharaoh Brown, to me, is better than Durham Smythe. So it's like it teeters.
Even the betters are not like, it's not a significant. It's a tick up. You know what I mean? It's not like I think James Daniels is the one big if he stays healthy, but still not enough to address the offensive line. Don't sell me this stuff that you're now going to address it. And unless they take like Tyler Booker at 13, like I don't see them doing that. You never know.
No.
I just don't see a world where that happens. I think it would be like a Will Campbell falling and they move him inside guard year one. But I agree. You mentioned Zach Wilson. Let's get into the comments now. McDaniel. He mentioned Zach, right? Among other things at the owners' meeting. It was a pre-calculated target. Phenomenal talent is the word he used. And I happen to know it's true because if anybody watched the Ben Albright show I had on free agents, the first day of free agency, he told us 30 minutes before free agency that this is the guy they want. This is the guy this coaching staff and the coaching tree loves. I will say he told me backstage that in Denver, behind the scenes, they were real excited about what they were seeing. Are you guys confident? I know you touched on it. Doug, we'll start with you, Jason, on Zach Wilson. As confident as McDaniel sound, like he almost sound like he even mentioned the Tua reclamation project. I mean, are you that confident here in quarterback too with Zach?
I don't want to use the word confident as much as I want to use the word intrigued. I'm intrigued. Am I going to put my mortgage on that he's going to come on in, light up the world, and say Tua, now I'm the starter? I'm not going to do that. But in the event that he has to play 2 or 3 games, I'd hope that he leaves the offense sufficiently enough to get a plus number. If they play 3 games, if he goes 2-1, that's a plus. That's all he would have to do as a backup. So I'm intrigued to see if McDaniel could turn another first rounder into someone better than they were in previous regimes, or regimes in plural, in Wilson's case, multiple teams.
Yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat. Come on over. You're watching anywhere else but YouTube. Come on over. Hit that little bell. I know it's annoying. It takes 1 second. Hit that like button. We always got to do it, right, Doug? Like Jason, we got to repeat it. Trust me.
Got to pay the bills. Pay the bills, right?
Pay the bills. We hate doing it, but please help support the channel, Jason and I, and hit that little bell. All right, so you mentioned Zach. You're a fan of the signing, I guess. It's an upgrade. Or I don't know if fan is the right word to call it, but like you like the upgrade, the upside, at least at that position with him. Doug.
Yeah. I didn't feel one way or another really about it. I had names that I wanted, like I think Jameis Winston would have been nice, or Gardner Minshew was another name that I was throwing out there. Zach Wilson intrigues me because I think you don't go to the Jets as a quarterback. Like they think Justin Fields is going to come in and turn everything around. No, you can't really name a Jet quarterback that really did much. And the Jets tend to ruin quarterbacks. Like, as much as people like to think that the Dolphins do it, now the Jets, ruin quarterbacks. So with Wilson and the Jets, like, you saw things, right? You saw his mobility, you saw his arm strength, but the thing that he struggled with was the reading the defenses and stuff like that. And then Sean Payton started, helping him with that with Denver. That's something that McDaniel could possibly help him with. And like Jason said, if he comes in, God forbid, and plays 4 to 5 games and he wins 3, goes 3-2, 4-1, that works. And, I would love for it to be a situation where we start to question, should Tua start when he's healthy? Wilson's doing really well. That would make me happy, because obviously we're winning. A lot of people want to talk about, 2 in ears and 2 of that. And at the end of the day, if you're a real Dolphin fan, you just care about winning. So, if that all of a sudden becomes an issue, it's a good thing because we're winning. I just want to win. But, I'm always hoping and praying that Tua stays healthy because he gives us the best chance to win. But Zach Wilson's intriguing. So when we signed him, I wasn't angry, but I wasn't like pumped. Like, we got him. Like, if we would have got Baker 2-3 years ago, then I would have been pumped. This one, I'm like, okay, let's see what he can do. It's not really going to cost anything.
Yeah, let's see if it could be like a Baker thing, right? Like a guy a former high pick who you thought was like gone for good, and now quarterbacks go to die in New York City, right? Like that's what it seems like. Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, and I think of all the stuff like hearing McDaniel speak on a regular basis. I can't. It's tough for me to listen to it for about more than 2 seconds, but he did make a good point. He came out as a guy with not a lot of pocket experience in college. So, and then New York, I don't know if he was ever properly developed. Let's look at the history. So maybe he got that year in Denver, and this is almost kind of like his second year. You know what I mean? Like, so I agree with you, Doug. That's a great point. Like, if we're talking in training camp and Omar's tweeting and David Furones is tweeting, like, man, boy, Wilson's looking good. That's only good stuff. Forget about 2 in ear, all that crazy stuff. That's good, right? I mean, that's good. So, Jason, I'll start with you with this. Are they done at that position? Because they've been sniffing around that 3rd, 4th, 5th round quarterback range, guys. Quinn Ewers, Tyler Shuck, who I think actually is going to go a lot higher than people think. I know you are a big fan of Kyle McCord. I'll start with you, Jason, and Doug, you can follow up. Do you think they're going to look in that middle round for a quarterback or day 3?
Yeah, I think it's in play from day 3 on. Round 3 on. If you want to use a 98th overall pick, it's not the worst idea, but if you could use one of those multiple 4th rounders, I think that's the exact sweet spot. So I don't think they're done. 10 picks, you got to draft a quarterback.
Yep.
I would agree if there was some type of future. If there was, year 2, right? This is year 2 of McDaniel Greer, or year 3 of McDaniel Greer. Then I'm like, okay, yeah, you grab somebody, you build them, you move forward with him, see what you could do. Because there are some guys in this draft that I do like Shuck, even though his name is not spelled Shuck.
How many people pronounce that wrong?
When I did my quarterback ranking, I was like, Shuck.
Show.
Because I was like, all right, it's Show, or it's like Shuff or something.
Same.
And then I was like, let me look up his highlights, and the guy was like, Tyler Shuck. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, they're messing with me at this point. But I like him. I like McCord. There are guys that I do like later. Maybe do we have 2 4s? To possibly grab one.
Well, hey, you're the GM today. We'll see. Doug.
Well, I'll see. Here's what we'll have to decipher when we get to that part.
Right.
Is, am I Doug drafting, or am I Chris Greer drafting? Because again, they don't know if they'll be here next year. So you don't take a quarterback to build a future with if you don't know you're going to be here next year. Hence the contracts they gave out, which were 1-year essential contracts. They didn't touch Tua's contract. They didn't restructure Tua because they don't know if they're going to be here next year. So it's going to be interesting. If there was that longevity, if there was that guaranteed future, yes, I definitely think they take a quarterback. You got 2 4s, 2 5s. That's a perfect spot to take one of these guys. But the fact that they don't know, I don't know if they do it.
Yeah. Koso's saying, what round is McCord? McCord's in that 3rd, 4th round, somewhere around there. I mean, quarterbacks always get drafted, but there seems to be that end of the 2nd round where everything dies with the quarterbacks. And so, then early day 3, it picks up. Cap saying, Big O said everybody's jumping ship because nobody – well, look, I know we're all friends with the Dive Bar podcast boys, and Mostert didn't have the greatest things to say about the organization and McDaniel. I've heard some other things, and that's a good point. I know Jason knows my guy is Jalen Milroe, and I'll tell you why, Doug. I don't know if I need to walk you off the plank here, but I always said we need somebody with some elite physical traits that has a small, even if it's a small % chance of working out to compete physically with the Allens, the Mahomes, Allens and Jacksons, all the names. It might be a very small % chance, but there's a % chance because the ability is there. And if you're the quarterback guy who can fix him, let's fix the guy with Lamborghini parts. You know what I mean? Like, I know what Kyle McCord is, right? I know what Quinn Ewers' ceiling is. Like, we're looking at potential backups, and if they get lucky, you get an average starter. Yes, Milroy's a boomer bust, but if you hit, you hit. And when's the last time we had somebody, Doug, like that at that position? Yeah,
no, I see where I definitely see where you're coming from.
That's my argument. Before we get into the draft, I want to wrap it up here with this point that Cap says, because this is kind of what I wanted to go to here. He said everybody's jumping ship. I was going into this offseason. I don't know if you guys thought this. I wanted to see what a desperate Chris Greer looks like. Is this guy really on the hot seat, right? What does it look like? Well, guess what? Not desperate. Like, this is not a guy who's looking to lose his job. If anything, it looks like no matter what he's staying, and McDaniel's the one, and this guy will hire a 3rd coach. I don't know if you agree, Doug, Jason. Jason, I'll start with you. Are you surprised by this approach that Greer's had? Or is this how you thought Greer would handle this offseason?
After seeing how things went down last season with multiple, he can go, he can go, he can go, and replacing with non-needle moving scenarios, equal at some point, but not in the last 2 years. Oh my God, we got him. Yeah, a couple of good hits. I'm not going to say that a Jordan Brooks wasn't a good hit, or an Aaron Brewer wasn't a good hit, or Jonathan Smith wasn't a good hit. But imagine just keeping 1 or 2 of those players that left. For example, the safety position was one of the worst units in the league for the Dolphins, and you let a Brandon Jones go, who could have been a good player for us. You could have developed him a little bit more. So I don't love his approach to the shopping that he did this year, non-needle moving, big time hits, but he was playing it as safe as possible. I really am curious to see if he handles this draft a little differently, because a couple of years ago in the Tua draft, he had 10 picks, and here we are, and we're talking about 3 players remaining. So I don't know. I'm not loving the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, and before we get gone, I lied. We got one more thing. The hot seat comment. First of all, Doug, is there anything in that owners meeting interview that just made your face go red? Was it the hot seat comment? Because like in no situation was his seat ever close to what Sirianni's was. Like Sirianni's is ice cold compared to what McDaniel is. Like, what anything bother you? Either one of you, Jason. We'll start with you, Doug. Like either one of you guys, anything bother you besides them leaving the door open for Liam Eichenberg starting, or that comment? The floor is yours, Doug. What did you like about that?
The Liam Eichenberg comment, because everything else was very PC, very, with Tyreek Hill, it was, the whole never say never in the NFL, but he's going to be here. And then I would like to be like Sirianni because Super Bowl aspirations and yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. That Liam Eichenberg one, I'm like, he's going to start.
You just see it, don't you, Doug?
I called it like, I think a week after we signed him. And I was listening to what he said again, and then, and he's going to start.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm saying he's going to start is, one, they brought him back. They gave him a contract, right? And the only way you can get rid of that contract is if you trade him. No one's trading for Liam Eichenberg.
Yeah.
And the things he said, if he starts, it's the best version of him, and this, and that. No. That's not the case, because he started last year and Jack Driscoll was the better offensive lineman, and you cut Jack Driscoll and you put in Liam as the starter. And then people said, well, Isaiah Wynn was hurt. Isaiah Wynn was going to be the left guard and he wasn't healthy. So Robert Jones was the left guard. Liam Eichenberg was going to start because Chris Grier does not like to give up on his draft picks. It's plain and simple. If he has a project, he will keep running it into the ground. No Egbenogany, now Liam Eichenberg. He does not want to give up on his project unless they're good, and then he'll let him walk like Andrew Van Ginkel, Brandon Jones, Christian Wilkins, Robert Hunt. The list goes on and on and on. Hence, him should have been fired at the end of the year.
End of the year 3 years ago. I'm still
middle of the year when they went 2-6, he should have been fired. Should have.
It's you know what? I give up on it. They like him in the building. It's not about everything's not about winning, Doug and Jason. Like it's about Tom Garfinkel's by his side, making him a ton of money. He's listening to Garfinkel. Chris Grier is a perfect yes man. Doesn't create any conflict. He has harmony in the front office. That's what he values most at that age. We got to accept that. For us fans, for us content creators who cover the Dolphins, it sucks. But in that building, Grier's not going anywhere. Jason, I don't know if you agree with that. I know we talked about this before, but like, I'm going to be honest. I think McDaniel's very close. Like his leash is shorter than people think.
I'll just say real quick, and then we could have so much fun with the mock drafting, but it's hard to justify keeping a general manager if this year doesn't yield multiple playoff wins. Tired of getting one playoff win. It's either going to happen or it's going to not. And at what point do you say, how many more years is it not going to happen until we have to get a change? Because if you're going to keep on doing the same thing over and over again, expect different results, we all know what that leads to or what that already is. So this is the last line for me. If they have a bang out draft, if they go to the playoffs, if they win multiple games, yeah, I'm on board. Let's finish it up. But I don't know if that's going to happen. So my confidence level is low.
Well, yeah, Cap, I got the same answer. I don't know what Marvin Allen and Champ Kelly do. Doug, do you? I do know Champ Kelly. That's a bit more significant than people like. It's not just another. He has a lot of ties. So I think he's a guy to keep an eye on. He was highly thought of. We did a whole show on that. Doug, I don't know if you have anything to add on that.
Yeah, Champ Kelly is the guy, if I'm remembering correctly, who scouted Patrick Mahomes and scouted Josh Allen and brought him to both of those teams. So, if we were looking for a quarterback, Champ Kelly, I'm glad you're on this team, but the Dolphins obviously aren't looking for a quarterback right now. So it's like, we'll see.
Yeah. Here's the bottom line, right? And we'll get to the mock. They got to stay. They're going to have from this point out, a home run offseason like they've never had, a home run draft like they've never had under Chris Grier or 20 plus years. And they're going to have to stay healthy. If all those things have to happen for them to be 10, 11 win team, 12 win team at the most, right? I do like the 8.5 number in Vegas. I don't know. I kind of like the over on that. pretty confidently on that, but we'll see. But are you guys? We're complaining about this team. GM Doug, you're not Chris Greer. You're the GM.
Okay.
We're your two head scouts. You come. If you need a referral of a player, we'll be there for you. But let's fix this team. What do you say, guys? Let's see how we do in chat. You can get involved here. Everybody, hit that like button, subscribe before we start this mock draft, and come on over to YouTube and watch us. All right, let's begin. Let me get it set up here. The simulator.
And Doug, while he's loading it up, I'll ask you the question: are you the kind of guy that's dialing the phone, or you're looking at the thing to ring for potential trades? Because again, you're the guy here. You're the one making the decision.
Depends what's there.
Let's see. We'll see how everything falls, right? All right. So we want to do it normal or fast mode, Jason?
Let's do it fast mode because the players. It's not going to. We'll have our decision.
Doug, you're the GM. You're fast or normal mode?
Do fast.
Fast. Okay, I agree. All right. Let's go here. All right. Let's see how the board shakes for us. Oh, we got to. Let's see what's on the board before we look at these. Or we'll take a look. 33 and 63, 26 and 90, and we got a second and a third next year.
That's far.
21 and a first next year. I want something this year though.
Yeah, that's too. I don't like any of this.
Do you want to counter and try to? You want to counter and try to get something this year, or you want? Let's see what's on the board first, right? All right.
Shador Sanders is that.
Wow. I've done this a lot of times, and I don't think I've ever had this.
You see, that's a trade pick.
Yep.
That's a trade value pick. So I'm the guy saying, anyone else calling? Call back Pittsburgh. Call back Pittsburgh. See what they can do this year.
All right, so we're here, right, guys? Chat, what do you think here with Shador Sanders? All right, so
it's Doug's decision.
Here's what we got at the board. We got Sanders. We got Warren, the tight end. We got all the Twitter favorites. All right, that's first. We got Jalen Walker. How did the board fall? Cam Ward, Will Campbell, Hunter, Carter, Embu, McMillan, Graham, Johnson, Banks, Stewart, Genty. So the running back went right before us. All right. So what is our argument here, Doug? Is it whether we want to take the offensive weapon or the safety?
There's multiple players that I would take at 13 on the board.
Okay.
I would definitely take Derek Harmon. I would trade down to take him. Same thing with Amanwari, just off of their top 100.
34th here.
Yeah, like those are guys that'll still be there if you trade down. Now in the real world, probably not. But going off of their stuff, Jahad Campbell. I love Jahad Campbell.
So do I. If you're looking for edge, Williams is really big physical edge. I don't think they take him. I think it comes down. I mean, let's talk quarterback here. Jason, we'll start with you. What do you think? Would you recommend to Doug Shador Sanders here at 13?
Simply because I saw how the offers came in with Pittsburgh. I'm calling them back and seeing if I can get a pick in between my, like you said, Sammy, there's that, like you said, George, there's that gap potential, Sammy on the bottom. There's that gap between 48 and 98. So if Pittsburgh can send back, not a first from next year, maybe 2 picks this year, one of them being second rounder, maybe a 5th rounder, I'm seeing with us maybe having 2 minutes left, 1 minute left to make this pick in real time, I would call back Pittsburgh to see what's what. If not, Doug, your best player available would be your guy.
We probably got 3.5 minutes left on the clock.
I'm having Doug Pittsburgh right now.
I got the phone here. Do you want me to kind of counter these trade offers, or do you want to stick and pick here?
Who offered trades? Let me see that again.
33 and 67 and a first next year. And we got to give up 98.
That first is probably gonna be the first overall too.
And they would never offer this, but like I would probably consider it just based on that, right?
That's gonna be like the first overall, like top 3 pick.
26 and 90. I would want something a little bit higher than 90, and then 20 for in the first.
That's saying they're interested, but I'm keeping that 90. I don't want to give up the 90.
How far do you want to move back, Doug? The farthest you want to move back?
What was the Steelers 21?
You want to count that? See if we can get something else.
That would probably be the furthest.
Let's say we don't want to give it. You want to try? Oh, they don't have a pick till 83.
Ask for that. Ask
Yeah.
for that and the 185. And ask for the 185 sweetener. If they reject that, they'll do the
156.
There you go.
Let's propose that. You good with that, Doug?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Accepted. We made
There
a
we
counter
go.
trade. We're on the clock.
No, I'm not trading.
No,
that.
no more trade. Exactly.
No
No
more
more
trade.
trades.
Trader Doug. All right.
I'm taking
Ooh.
Derek Harmon here.
Derek Harmon. Do you want to look at the options or we're Grant?
Over Kenneth Grant.
Is Amanwari still on the board?
Worry.
No.
Where did he? No, he went 15.
Yeah, so I'm taking Derek Harmon.
So you're banging the table. You're telling us, hey, this is our guy. We're shoring up the middle.
If the Ravens coach is impressed by him, I'm taking him.
All right. Derek Harmon is the pig.
6'4", 313 pounds, ran a
Yes.
4.95.
Yeah, I know. We did a whole thing on him.
I'm taking him.
We're high on him. Pick 50. We don't need that. All right. Let's take a look. This is where it gets interesting here. Ooh.
Jackson Dart.
Uh-oh.
So
if this was the real world, we would get more trade offers.
yeah. But
with Jackson Dart
does everybody
sitting
realize we just passed Shador Sanders up though, right? Like,
there. Yeah,
all right. So Watts,
that's what I'm taking.
Dart, Conley. Oh man, I love
Watts? You like
Schlesinger.
Watts?
You
Yeah.
know my guy,
Watts is
Schlesinger.
great.
Because
Oh.
I would love to take a linebacker, but it's not where we're at right now, and we still have another.
I'm in between Schlesinger, Dart, and Watts.
I'm taking
I endorse
Xavier Watts
I
here.
endorse that wholeheartedly.
So Watts, and I can
And
live with that.
knowing
I'm not
that
going to
you have
argue.
the next two
I love
picks
the
that the
tape on him.
Dolphins will have now are within like 5 picks of each other, 10
and
picks
he-
of each other quickly.
He creates turnovers. We need that. So, yeah, I agree with you guys. Xavier Watts is the pick. All right, now we're up.
Was it the late 80s or the early 80s?
Or
Okay, it was
83 here.
83.
All right, so let's have
Gotta
some
go
fun now,
offensive
right?
line. Gotta go
Yeah,
offensive line.
let's
here.
see what's available. Oh, offensive line. Let's see the tackle. Oh, guard.
Guards.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
our boy we interviewed, Fairchild, Slater. Fairchild's a guy like he's a left guard, pure left guard, battler, fighter. Man, I love Fairchild. It's about where I think he'll go. A little rich, maybe. Doug or Jason, your thoughts here? What's on the board?
Doug, where are you leaning?
Let's see. I'll go down the list here. What's available?
Remember, there is a 98th pick on the way too. So 15
we got
picks
two.
will pass on someone. You want to play that game? Will that player?
What
be
positions you want to look at? Purely offensive line?
Yeah, tackle
Tackle
guard situation.
Tackle Cameron Williams. Oh, my guy, who I think is, we did the tackle show. I think this guy has, like when Teron Armstead was drafted, like in the 3rd round, and from a small school, this guy's athletic ability. And I don't know. I always say I don't know how I know this. They run a lot of zone, inside and outside zone at William & Mary. That's the kind of nerd I am. Big fan of his. If we're going tackle, I don't know. He's not going to come in and play guard, I don't think, right away year one. But if you want, are you guys looking for somebody, Doug, that's more right now ready to play?
Ozzy Trapilo.
He's a big kid.
Good, but
Yeah.
the thing is, he can't play guard.
No, he's too big. He's
No,
too
he's
tall.
way
He
too
plays
big.
too upright.
No way.
We
So
missed
what-
on a bunch of guards in that
Yeah.
second round because there were some guards that we definitely
yeah.
could have took in that second round.
We can't look. We can't fill every need in this draft.
Let me see all. Let me see just the top.
That's another good D tackle there. They're bringing this kid in right in the top 30 visit. I read Gunnar Helm at tight end. Tyler Shuck. I don't love the board here right now.
No, and I'm not reaching because
I say we either go.
I probably double down, to be honest with you. Go to all.
I
Yeah,
take
Darius
here.
Alexander.
Jason, what do you think?
Darius Alexander, I don't care if he goes to a small school. He's a great prospect, athletic prospect. That's not the worst idea in the world here, knowing that this is a bonus pick from that fictitious trade that we pulled off. So this, to me, this could be either a luxury pick, or if you go with offensive line, 98 could be a luxury pick.
Yeah, and we're fixing the interior of the defensive line here. And you remember from the D tackle show, Jason, that one. Watch his highlight of a pick six he had. That's all you need to know about Derek. I mean, Derek Harmon and Darius Alexander. I don't love what's on the board here. I like Bowman the safety, but I can probably get him in the next pick if we wanted to. Doug, you're recommending Alexander here, double down?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do that. Jason, you agree, right?
I think it's a great move, and I think you triple down with trenches with offense. There's got to be a guard that you pick up if Fairchild falls or if Jackson Slater falls.
And we're definitely post free agency signing a offensive guard, a post draft. Pick one.
No deal at this point.
No deal. Okay, so now let's look at our picks. We went Derek Harmon. We went all defense here. Derek Harmon, Watts, Alexander. I think we need to go offense, maybe.
You got to look at the cornerbacks, I think, before you make a stamp. That's just my opinion.
Oh, my guys. Let's look at the corners. Kobe Bryant.
I don't know why that made me laugh.
Kobe Bryant, yeah. Terrence Ferguson, the tight end. Billy Bowman, we already went safety. Savion Williams, I know you're a big fan of him. We'll talk about him tomorrow.
For sure.
Let's look at the offensive line. Jackson Slater at 98. I'm going to give you a recommendation, Doug. I'm going to bang the table for the guy, and you're the GM, and I'm banging the table for Charles Grant. I know we can probably get him. You think we can get him, guys, in the fourth round?
Yeah.
Okay. But just keep that in mind. It's a guy I'm banging the table for. And then your boy Ozzy. You want to go to all? Look at all?
I would just the fact that Ozzy's still there, I say take him.
You like Ozzy? He's big, man.
Yeah.
He's massive in the run blocking game. Jason, any you agree with GM Doug here?
It's addressing the offensive line as a whole.
Yeah.
He is too big, too tall, upright to play guard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the guards that are available right now.
We are addressing the offensive line as a whole. The guards there, I would say Slater is a good pick now. Could he still be available at 116?
If not Ozzy, then I would take Gunnar Helm. So one of the two.
Yeah. So that's the debate in the room now, Ozzy or Helm. I'll go.
I'd say Helm, knowing that one of those guards will be there.
Mm-hmm.
One of those more pure guards will be there at the start of day 3.
And he's probably probably the best blocking tight end in the draft, I think, right? And there's some ability in the pass catching game.
And he played on like a sprained ankle that was like swollen at the combine too. So he's got that toughness. Yeah, I said go Gunnar Helm.
Yeah,
Gunnar Helm.
That's fine.
All right, let's do Gunnar Helm. All right, our next pick here.
And I would say the best cornerback or guard available. That's where I'm looking.
Yeah.
Kadeem, double down, bro. Checking out. Thanks for everybody. Go time, Kadeem in the chat. Everybody watching, please come on over to YouTube.
Kadeem is the man.
Yeah, Kadeem. Hit that little like button and the little bell and help support us, guys. Thank you, everybody in the chat. We're going. I hope you're liking our mock draft here. That GM Doug and his 2 head scouts who act like they know what they're doing. All right. So we're at pick 116. We took Derek Harmon, Xavier Watts, Darius Alexander, Gunnar Helm. Man, this is a deep defensive tackle draft. You just keeps coming back there. All right. So let's go offensive line here. Let's look.
There's your guy. And there's
our guy. Like I'm telling you,
he is a guard.
He fits the Dolphins so well, not just because we interviewed him, but I just love his upside. It depends where you want to go. Do you want to go a potential tackle who has athletic ability to eventually like be a Pro Bowl tackle? It's a little bit of a risk, but he's athletic as all get at that position, as you'll find. And then you have Jackson Slater. Do you like Miles Frazier? Anybody you like? What are you leaning towards here, Doug?
I would take Jackson Slater here.
Jackson
I wouldn't
Slater
be against that. Yeah.
We can't deny this, man. What a great kid. Everybody check out our Jackson Slater interview.
I'll tell you a little why. I'll tell you why, Doug. I think this makes great sense because this could literally be Liam, go beat out the rookie, or go to the rookie. Rookie, go beat out Liam. Because the surefire winner at least can create an attempt to get a solid 5, which to me, there's 4 guys right there. And you got to get the guy who wins in camp at left guard. And you need a guy who could be a pure, absolute day one potential at left guard from a rookie to compete with a veteran. I love this potential of the battle. And let's see who can make that 5th man.
Yeah, so and he, I think he improved. He had his pro day, and he improved like his vertical jump to like 32. He's just athletic. He's a perfect fit. He's a great kid. We had him on.
He's rising.
We got to take him. It's even if GM Doug said no, we have to take him just because we had him on the show. All right.
But he endorsed it. We want to make sure.
Yeah, you endorsed. Yeah, he has final say. He's Chris Greer / Tom Garfinkel.
He's writing the ticket.
Right.
He's writing the ticket.
All right, Jackson Slater, you're in. Drafters. Oh, okay. We're back up at 135. We had a trade offer. No. Unless you guys want to do that.
At this point, pedal to the metal with picks.
Pedal to the metal.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to all. CJ West, Aronde Gatson. Do we want to look running back here? This guy's so good, man.
Yeah, I double down on safety.
Who else?
What about?
Because at this point,
damn, my guy's still there.
You're not necessarily going to get a starter at this point, but you can get guys who can be starters.
Corners. Oh, Caleb Branshaw, man crush. That's a different
He'll be
conversation.
there a little later based on here.
Yeah, based on here, I don't think we'll see that in real life.
I would, yeah, agreed.
All right,
I'd look at wide receiver too to see who's around.
Okay. Oh, I love him. This is the guy I just talked to you about.
Yep.
Backstage, Jason. Tomorrow, guys, we're doing the wide receiver. How many wide receivers? We got like 16.
14.
Scouting
16,
reports. Yeah, because I'm adding. He's a guy I'm adding. I love Tesla, Jalen Lane. You wanna look at safety? You said you want to double down, Doug. Is where you're leaning here?
Yeah, I like the top guy that was there,
Yeah, I
Billy
agree.
Bowman.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
your
he's
guy.
the best player available. It's my guy too. Let's do it. All right. All right.
Now, I believe after this pick, there's a wait until the 7th. Is this the last pick? Or did we get
I think we have two fives. I think
we have 150 and 155.
Oh, we picked up another one too. Okay, good. Yeah, so there's 2 picks after this. Nice.
I like the double down theme we got going on here. All right, so go back to the results. Do we want to look at quarterback, running back, wide receiver? I'm a big fan of this kid.
Curious to see what quarterbacks might be around. Uh-oh. There's
we
choices.
could probably get one at where are you leaning towards, Doug? What are you looking at here? What anybody?
The fact that Dylan Sampson is still there is intriguing
the
to
running
me.
back, he had a great workout, didn't he? I just they need somebody a little bit bigger, but if you think he's the fit, because there's a drop off at running back.
Devin Neal runs well too. From
See.
Kansas, he could be a good option at running back.
Yeah. The list dries up pretty. It's your call, Doug. I would go, if it's me, I'll give you my recommendation. I'd probably go Tesla here, the wide receiver. I don't know, or actually Bassa, the linebacker.
Bassa from Oregon there, George.
Yeah, I would do linebacker.
Bassa, he can fit.
Yeah.
Linebacker Bassa?
Yep.
All right. We got 2 picks.
2 in a row. Look at the board, Phil.
I didn't know we did that. We did
That was part of the trade. That was part of the Pittsburgh. That was the Pittsburgh sweep.
Oh, I picked up. Oh, because you said 180. I go, no, we're going for 156.
You did it. You got it.
Yeah,
That's
all
your pick.
All right, so back-to-back picks here. We got
Double down on
minutes
defensive. How many defensive tackles did we take so far?
2.
We took 2.
We got Harmon and
All right,
Alexander.
yeah, then we're good at tackle.
Yeah, let's look at their top players. Then we'll go. I mean, I think this is a quarterback spot too. If you wanted to go quarterback, did they take my receiver?
Yeah.
No, they took him. When did they take him? Right. That's a Dolphin thing to happen. So don't worry. This is a mock draft for the Dolphins. All right. Let's see. Where are you leaning, Jason? You have any recommendations to GM Doug?
If we're going to go with running back, I like Neal. If we're going to go quarterback, I see Gabriel's available, who would be a carbon copy back up to 2 as a lefty who could move, athletic version. I don't know if my guy McCord is still available. I don't see him available.
Quarterback.
He is available. Now, I don't think Gabriel or McCord will be in real life here available. McCord shooting up the boards. And I know, Doug, you're the GM. You said you don't want to go with quarterback at this point. So I'm going to say I like Devin Neal. but I want Doug to put his stamp on every pick. If you're going to go running back, my recommendation.
I know. Doug said he likes Samson.
Yeah, if it's between Samson and Neal, I'd probably go with Samson.
Go for it.
Plus, we have a pick right after it too.
Yeah, we have back to back.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. Let's see who else. Receiver.
It's who you want to pay a tiny bit more.
You want speed. This guy's speed. You want Jaden Lane. If you want receiver. The offensive, you got the kid out of Miami, Carson Vincent is a good prospect. Your guy, Jalen Travis, but literally.
I like Travis.
Miles Frazier's there. Out of LSU. Centers, the kid out of Ohio State's good. Or we go. What are you saying, Doug? Samson? You want to go Samson?
Yeah.
All right. Samson is a pick. All right.
Daniel will be happy with that one.
Yeah.
Are we looking developmental quarterback here? Because our next pick is we have a
seventh round after this.
Yeah. So you're shooting. If you're going to get a quarterback, it's this pick. But I know you said you're not sure because of the regime, but this is you. This is not Chris Greer.
If this is me, Mike McDaniel's not there.
Oh boy,
who's the coach?
I don't know.
Dion?
But if Greer got fired midseason, I got brought in at the end of the year. I don't know if I'm keeping McDaniel.
I'll go to all so you can see. What does Chad think of our draft? Are we doing good? Okay.
I'd probably take a guard here. Double down on the guards.
Let's see that. Guard. We're not going quarterback, Jason. You didn't convince him enough.
It's totally fine. I'm confident in Zach Wilson if Tua doesn't do it.
We'll get one in the 7th round. Which guard do you like? Clay Webb. Big fan of Clay Webb. We could take the 5'10" center guard. Willie Lampkin.
I'm good with Miles Frazier.
Yeah, I agree. I would say if you're going guard, let's go Frazier.
I agree. That's totally fine. Now this is a trench heavy draft, which I really like. Both sides.
Let's have fun with this 7th round. How many do we have?
3 7th round picks.
We got 3 7s.
Yeah. Ty Hamilton, no way he'll still be available, but
the defensive tackle. Yeah. All right. So, who's available? What did we take?
Rourke won't be available, but that would be a decent pick in the 7th round as a quarterback, but he won't be available.
Do you want to go quarterback? Do you want to go quarterback at all, Doug?
Who's on the board?
Rourke and Brady Cook probably.
No one really.
Yeah.
It's
These
to
are
me.
UDFA. These are UDFAs.
Yeah.
Rourke probably not, but like maybe not Cook. But these we could sign one of these guys.
That's an undrafted free agent zone. Don't burn the pick on.
You're looking at special teamers now. You're looking at guys that you don't want to get outbidded by.
Right.
What's
linebackers?
What's all? Let me see all. A lot of DTs, a lot of running backs.
Well, DT running back tight end is the strongest group.
And we doubled up on safety already, right?
Jimmy Horn Jr.
The receiver.
Not bad in the 7th round. He's
slot guy. Oh man. All right, I'm
Caleb Branchow's a project too that you would love.
Doug, I'm telling you, take my word. You could fire me if he doesn't make this team. All right. Take my. I'm putting the stamp on it. I'm walking out this door, and you fire me now if you don't take Caleb Branchow.
Take him.
You're
It's
fired.
the 7th round. I'm probably not even in the room anymore at this point.
This is
you come with Jack Daniels in.
This is what coach or what coordinator is jumping on the table, going crazy for the guy,
Right.
and you kind of
You
give your coaches a pick right here. So
Yep.
I'm gonna go.
This is your pick.
I'm gonna go, even though he probably will still be. I'm gonna go Ransaw here. We'll give you the next one, Jason. How about that?
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Doug, is that cool with you?
Yeah.
No,
You guys got the next thing.
Doug said, George, I'm like, I got the TV on in the back. I got the kids and the wife on the phone. You go ahead, man. I just ordered Chinese. Like, you go ahead.
You guys got the next three.
If it's my pick, I think I'm going to go with Jalen Travis as a project tackle, swing tackle potential, tall, smart kid. Yeah, I like him a lot. 6'8" at the 7th round to develop and maybe throw on a practice squad for a year. Absolutely.
All right, we'll go Jalen Travis, a Jason Sarni special here. We got some height on the offensive line. Did we take no, we didn't take Ozzy. That's what. All right, Jalen Travis. Poor man's Ozzy from Boston College.
Went to Princeton, Ivy Leaguer, got the smarts.
This is our last
study.
This is our last pick to round it out here.
Shiloh Sanders. Oh boy.
Oh. I mean, do we almost have to? I'm looking. Yaya Black. You want to just take the Curtis Rourke here? I always say draft a quarterback every year.
I would say get a cornerback.
Corner?
Just to
yeah,
throw
but at this point,
corners in.
I'm not reaching for a need just because the guy's a cornerback.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
What
I
do you
say
think,
take
Doug?
Rourke.
Let's take Rourke.
6'5",
Let's
223.
Let's give us
Nothing wrong with
content
that.
creators something to talk about.
A quarterback drafted and brought in.
Yeah. We could talk about he's better than Tua, right?
Oh boy.
you hear that from the Tua haters.
Yeah.
All right. We drafted Curtis. All right, so here's
There
our
it is.
draft, guys. We went Harmon in the first round. We went safety in Watts in the second. Another defensive tackle in Alexander. We went the best blocking tight end in the draft. We went inside and fixed the guard, a guy who we got in the fourth round but could start for us. And we had in Jackson Slater. We had more depth than Billy Bowman, this undersized speed safety. We added a coverage linebacker in Bassa, who's I think a guy who can play immediately. That weak side will linebacker. Dylan Sampson, the running back. Miles Frazier, another guard. And then we went scout special. My guy, Caleb Ransaw. Jason's guy, Jalen Travis. And then, again, we just took the quarterbacks and we got something to talk about. All right. So grade the draft. We'll end it here. Grade the draft. How do you think we did? We'll start with you, Jason, then Doug can give his thoughts and give his grade on his draft and how we did.
I thought we did well. I think if we're going to see potential, there's great potential with Harmon and Watts to be immediate, like day one impact players right off the bat. I like the potential in Slater. I like the potential in Bowman. I'll give it a B+. And the reason why I'm not in the A range is because we didn't go wide receiver and cornerback.
And we went O-line a little late. We didn't,
which is fine. But I'm very happy. The plus is indicative of the trench. We took care of the trenches, so I thought that was a great job.
Doug was disciplined. He was disciplined on the board. He didn't, he lined the board up horizontally, not just vertically. Doug, your thoughts on our draft? This is your post-draft press conference.
It fell weird. Like the board fell kind of weird.
Yeah, it didn't fall great. It did not fall great in some spots.
No, I would have taken offensive linemen, guards earlier.
Yeah.
There's a bunch that I like, that I would have liked to be there earlier. Also the trade back 21, kind of far. You kind of miss out on some nice talent, but it was all right. I give it like a B, like a solid B.
I agree. Go ahead.
There's guys that we could get in the second round that I would absolutely love, that we didn't. Even the guys that are tackles that could potentially be
we
guards.
just didn't have. It's like we have so many needs. We don't have enough picks. Looking back, I probably would have stayed. What would we? Let's ask this: what would we have done if we'd have stayed at 13? Would you have took the tight end, the quarterback, or would you have went Amon Wari or something like that, or Jahad Barron?
If we stayed at 13, I don't even remember who's available at 13.
It was
he hit those names. Amawari was available, Ty Warren available,
and Sanders was the big. We're already getting.
Will Johnson was taken.
We are the Dolphins. We're already getting killed. We didn't take a corner.
If Will Johnson was gone, then I probably.
It was Barron, Amon Wari, Starks, Booker, and then Sanders, the quarterback. It didn't even in that spot. I didn't. We could have had Kenneth Grant, but we went Derek Harmon. Either one.
Yeah.
It's what flavor you like of those.
Yeah, I probably would have went Grant or Emanwari at 13. That's my right now. That's my top two. If Will Johnson's not there, because those are the most pressing needs, but also the biggest talent that should still be available. Harmon, I see him more of a late first. So
Scout a corner.
If we trade back, you can grab a Harmon.
Yeah.
If he falls out of the first, that'd be crazy.
We traded back to 21. He was the D tackle we liked there, and we took him. And you can't. This is how the real draft works, man. The board falls funny, and like you need a guard or a corner, but like Xavier Watson, and at that point maybe was the best player available over one of the corners or one of the guards, and that's how kind of a draft is. You can't get in love with falling these need. But yeah, I thought it was fun. I had a great time doing it. I hope you enjoyed it, Doug. It's already been an hour. I didn't want to keep it this long. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay.
All right, before we go, tomorrow we got the the wide receiver special, Jason's favorite position. We got about 16 prospects. It's tomorrow at 8 p.m. on the on-season. We'll break all those guys down. Make sure you follow the channel, hit the like and subscribe button. Doug, we thank you for coming on. Before we go, let everybody know what you got going on. I'm sure everybody knows where to find you, but just say it again and tell everybody what you got going on your channel and your content.
YouTube.com/DougLeeDoWrong. Got a lot of draft stuff. It's April, so breaking out prospects, looking at 3 years ago, grading that draft, redrafting it, like just it's a draft all the way through. And then after the draft, we'll look at best available free agents still out there, and can the Dolphins fix the holes that we missed?
Yeah, basically it's the same thing everywhere, right? There'll be some signings after, but again, thank everybody in the chat for joining us. Thank Doug for joining us, and for Jason and myself. We'll see you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. We are out, fellas.